It's Tottenham versus West Ham at the Tottenham Stadium this weekend with pressure mounting on both managers, Thomas Frank of Tottenham and Nuno Espirito Santo of West Ham. This game being labelled as El Sacaco. So stay tuned to the very end to get my honest and balanced thoughts as always, as well as what my lineup would be, what I think Thomas Frank will actually go with, combined 11, team news, thoughts on West Ham this season so far and whether they can stay up or not. All of that coming in the video. Stay tuned till the very end. What's happening, people? Welcome back to the channel. I hope you're keeping well. If you're new, please like and subscribe. It's a huge game this weekend. Make no mistake about it. There's a lot of pressure if we focus on Tottenham, on Thomas Frank. I think Nuno's job is probably a little bit safer because West Ham, I think will want to unite behind him and rebuild behind him, even if they're in the Championship next year. And on West Ham briefly, I mean, it's been a disastrous season, a bit like Spurs, but for them, they've got to start getting results. They've acted quickly in the January transfer window. They signed 2 strikers, and rightly so. They find themselves in a difficult situation because no team that's been 5 points or more adrift by Christmas has ever stayed up. So West Ham will be making history if they stay up. Now it's 7 points, gone up since Christmas. The situation's got worse ultimately. And Nuno will be under pressure as a result. They play well against Forest, don't get a result. Done okay against QPR, but couldn't do it in 90 minutes. So it's frustrating for them, of course. But I'd argue that for us, it's a bad time to play them because every game right now is a final. It's like a cup final for West Ham. If this game wasn't already for them and their supporters, so they really need to get results. It can't be going to a game like this and going, we'll take a draw here, take a draw there. They have to start winning games. That's what the situation they're in right now. And for Tottenham, Thomas Frank, make no mistake about it, it looks like the board are behind him for now. But if we lose to West Ham, whether the board like it or not, there'll be so much pressure added to him by the supporters. Already there. He's already personally booed. We saw that at Brentford away, Sunderland, a load of games like that. Fans feel strongly about Thomas Frank. That's going to get 10 times worse. It could even get toxic. If we play well, if we play bad as well as lose against West Ham, it's disastrous. As much as I want us to play well, Tottenham have got to win. No excuses, Tottenham. It is a must-win game, being a London derby. Team news, Richarlison's out, unfortunately, for 7 weeks. Lucas Bergwijn, I doubt for this game. And there's some outside rumours that Palhinha hasn't trained this week and is a doubt, but we have no confirmation on that. We do have confirmation Richarlison 7 weeks. We have confirmation that Bergwijn is a doubt. We also have confirmation that Basuma's back from AFCON and ready for selection. Would you be opposed to starting him in there? Personally, not the attitude I think you want around the dressing room, but let's not sugarcoat it. Tottenham missing key players right now, so sometimes you just got to think about what the priority is, and the priority is winning games. And Basuma adds a bit of quality, but in particular depth in there. Without further ado, we'll get into my lineup in just a second. I think it's a tough game for Tottenham. Of course, West Ham being the size of the game for them, the magnitude. This game's important to West Ham anyway, but the situation they're in, that'll make it tough. Make no mistake about it. Their defence, Max Gilman, for example, they've got 2 senior centre backs. We can definitely expose that. There should be goals for us going forward if we can get Simmons, Tell, kind of in the form that they have been. And of course, a blow not to have Richarlison. But you'll get into what my team would be, and then why do you think Thomas Frank would go with, and if there's going to be any difference. So it'll be on your screen in just a second when it finally allows to bring up, which is on your screen now. This would be what I'd go with if I was Tottenham manager. Vic in goal, Pyro right back, a Doggy left back, Van Romero as the centre backs. A Doggy coming back in the side, was on the bench against Villa in the FA Cup 3rd round, so he's back from injury, and I do think we'll start this game. Maybe he's only got 60, 70 minutes in him. I'm not quite sure. 80 max maybe, but would start him. And there's an argument, of course, to rest Porro. Started so many games, but I think we need Porro's kind of attacking force and creativity in a game like this. I'd be more preferred to rest Porro maybe after Dortmund potentially, but I understand again the argument to rest him. I think is absolutely fine. New signing Conor Gallagher is available for selection, and I would start him with the Palhinha. Desperate situations at the moment. Right now, we're missing key players. Very few midfielders on wingers fit for Tottenham right now, and you've sold a lot of players and a lot of players out. So I think that partnership's quite good. And of course, if Palhinha is fit, fingers crossed, by the time this video may get to you, we might know more about Palhinha. But at the moment, we know nothing. It's just rumours. I like to think, hopefully, they're incorrect. And we're not going to have another injury or another doubt because we need Palhinha available. And I see Palhinha doing, of course, the tough work, the defensive work, and having Gallagher in front of him. I think Gallagher is kind of Duracell bunny, is the way I would describe him. Doesn't stop running. And he's a fantastic asset. I think, yes, we've got similar players, maybe to him and Pat Matasar, but he's a significant upgrade on what we've currently got available. Make no mistake about it. In front of that is where I think it's quite exciting. I'll go with Odegaard on the right, Tell on the left, Savvy in the 10, and Wani up top. I was so close to putting Dane Scarlett in there. I would probably bring Scarlett off for a chunk because when else is he going to get an opportunity with Richarlison out, Solanke just coming back? As much as I want to see Solanke start in the team, for me, it's too early to take that risk. He's probably only got half an hour in him. Realistically, 30, 35 minutes push if he's needed, and injuries happen, or just the situation we need goals, or whatever reason we need him hold up play that Frank would do fit. And Marnie, I like, but I don't. I'd much rather have Richarlison or Solanke. I'll be honest with you about that. I find Marnie frustrating. I think he's okay. He's shown glimpses, shown signs, but I was very close putting Scarlett in here. If it wasn't a London derby, then I would probably start Dane Scarlett. But make no mistake about it, as fixtures get busier, I will give Scarlett a chance. I just, we send all these players out on loan and we just don't give them a chance on the pitch. I know in training is important what you see, but Scarlett comes on Copenhagen, boom, big impact, and we've only seen him once since. So that would be my team in the 4-2-3-1 formation. So to recap the points of note, a doggy coming back in from injury, that's what I would do. I'd bring Gallagher straight into the team and I would stick with Cullen Wani up top. I would put Tell on the left. Eventually, of course, you won't get Tell in that striker position, but we've got a lot of strikers and we don't have any left wingers literally that are fit at the moment, which is just embarrassing. Let me tell you that. You don't have any fit left or right ringers. So Tell not a bear, you're like, in particular, Tell, you go boom, out of position. But I think this is what Tom Strong actually go with. I think he'd go with the same with me in terms of Vic and goal. I think he'll also go with, Porro, a doggy, Van der Ven, and Romero. I think that's what he'll go with, no doubt. I don't think he throw Conor Gallagher in there. I think he'll introduce Gallagher from the bench. I think he'll stick with Paulinia and Gray. And I think the rest is the same. I think he started a bit right wing. Xavi in the 10 and 10 on the left and Marnie up top. So the same as me, apart from Gray over Gallagher. I think new signings generally aren't they introduced from the bench, but I think this is a desperate situation right now for Tottenham. I think we need Gallagher in there from the start. He's ready to go. He's come over, medical done, come in advance. But I think Frank will introduce him from the bench. That's just how I feel. I think he, would rather introduce him gradually, get him used to the system rather than throw him in. Gray knows the system. Gray knows, hopefully, anyway, you'd hope, what Frank is expected of him. But Simmons hopefully can continue that second half against Villa. Tell as well, he's looked bright in the last few games. Rumours of him going out on loan to Paris FC. I'd be against that. I understand his push for more minutes and want to play at striker position, but we need to give him more minutes and give him what he wants because he's playing really well. 20 years of age, really bright signs there. I'm not like fully against him going on loan, but I think the main thing for me is if Tell goes out on loan, we won't sign a replacement because we didn't with Brendan Johnson, we didn't with Son, we didn't with Werner, and we didn't for Solomon. And all those players I mentioned, a couple of them were sold. One loan ended and one we loaned out. The point is, none of them were replaced. So it's not going to be any different with Tell. So I don't want to get worse. January's to strengthen. I don't want to get worse and lose another key player. So therefore, I would keep Tell. It may harm his development slightly if he doesn't get too many minutes, but it's on the club because we won't sign a replacement. Simmons, like I said, they'll hopefully get a better second half. Odegaard looked okay on the right side, took his goal really good, and Wani did have a disallowed goals. Hopefully, he can cause problems in behind the Alpalinia. I think he's been excellent at times, really good against Villa again in that second half. And before you get into combined 11, I just say that Tottenham have got to start in a game like this how we played in the second half against Villa. Second half against Villa, as much as it'd be nice to see us play like that for 90 minutes every single week, it's never going to be possible. We need to play like that more than just 45 minutes in the Blue Moon because we were amazing in that game. London Derby, I think, is not asking a lot to give 110% at every minute, fly into tackles, but also be sensible. And Tottenham have to be up for this game because West Ham, make no mistake about it, under Nuno, they will show defensive resilience. They will show fight. I think they lack the quality, but they show the fight and show the will. West Ham could want this more than Tottenham. Even though we have a little bit more quality because West Ham are dire, we have to. We have to be up for it. We cannot go into this game thinking, it's West Ham. Like I'm maybe talking the talk here. We've got to go in here thinking, right, any other game, let's get the job done. Let's be professional. Let's do something we haven't been able to do recently and put in a performance of 90 minutes and get a result. As someone who's behind Thomas Frank, I may have to reassess and reevaluate. Of course, with context important, but how we get on against West Ham, I don't want to jump to conclusions. I want to focus on this game, but it has to be a win for Tottenham. It just cannot be any scenario that we lose this game. West Ham are awful. In my opinion, they're the worst team in the league because Wolves are having a better 2026. I think they're that bad. Of course, maybe they should be in a better situation. Players like Bowen, Paquetá, Paquetá, of course, could leave. They've got players like that. I understand that, but they're dire defensively, absolutely awful. You have to take one look at a defence, Max Coman, for example. So Tottenham have to get this right. It's a huge game for Thomas Frank because I think, the ball won't, and Vinay won't want to get rid of him, but fan pressure in the end always, topples, in the end, it always has that kind of say. Here are both combined 11s then. So this one is with just fit players, which means anyone at AFCON, still currently there at the AFCON final, or is still travelling back or ineligible. Anyone suspended or injured cannot be selected. They can be selected on the team I do after that, but not for this one. I read it out and talk you through my thinking. Ariola in goal, Wan-Bissaka right back, Spence left back, Romero and Van der Ven as the centre backs. Yao Polinia and Mateus Fernandes, the Portuguese duo in midfield with Tottenham and West Ham. Jared Bowen, Xavi Simons and Matthias Tell. And also I've gone with Tati Castellanos, the new West Ham striker up top. Here we go then. Let me talk you through my thinking. I really like Vicario. I think he gets too much criticism. However, Ariola for me has been a little bit more consistent and doesn't look good. Amount of goals that West Ham concede, I don't think it's down to him. Overall, I think he's got a little bit more quality and experience about him as a goalkeeper. Wan-Bissaka then, really tough to pick him over Porro. It's probably harsh on Porro, but my thinking is Porro's played a lot of games at the moment. Therefore, mistakes are starting to creep in. Wan-Bissaka will be fresher. So if I was picking a team right now, that would be my thinking. I think Porro offers more than Wan-Bissaka going forward, but Wan-Bissaka's better defensively. Bear in mind, I believe in having a really good defense. I really do believe that. I think Wan-Bissaka is a big part of why I would pick him there. Spencer left back as well. Potts would only be the real contender there, really. Or Scales, there's no real big contender. Myers, maybe. There's no big West Ham player. I think some of the kids. I'm not necessarily listing all the players that play left back. I'm listing all the kids that West Ham have given opportunity. I think who can play there, who does play there. Jez Spence, me, no doubt, and no chance any West Ham centre back Kilman Mavropanos, even if he was fit, would be in there. Absolutely no chance. And that midfield then, Mateus Fernandes, I think West Ham fans are starting to really see what Southampton fans raved about. I think the best is yet to come, though, for him in an Iron shirt, wearing the Hammer shirt from Fernandes. I think he works really hard, but we yet to see that quality, that cutting line passes, and that really impacting the game. Kind of goals and assists we yet to see, but looks really good. And I think could form a good partnership with Paulinho. Tottenham missing a lot of players in that area. So I was quite locked in with this decision. Bowen then his class, that he's been open and honest with his statement about how the situation West Ham find themselves in, the divide at the moment, and also how he's playing. He knows he's not being perfect, but still think he picks up a goal here and there. And Paquetá, you'll notice, isn't in here because he's been too inconsistent this year. Since he's moved to Man City, he fell apart with the betting scandal. Hasn't been the same player since, in my view. I view him very much like James Maddison. Talented players, but you only get the best out of them for 10 or 15 games a season. And is that enough? Are you happy with that? That's a frustrating thing. But, when you have them injured or suspended, when they're not here, or when they're in that good period, it's so easy to clutch onto that and go, oh, we love this player. Because we do. That's the reality. Oh, we want this player. But Maddison will come back for Tottenham, let's say, if he didn't play very well, give him time to get back from injury, but he doesn't play well for a few games, goes off the boil and misses in big games. And you think, so frustrated when you're in that moment. So Paquetá is a player that West Ham will miss when he's not there, but they're frustrated with right now. Tell on the left, I'm quite confident in that one. The Castellanos up top, I know it's unpopular. Richarlison being injured, Solanke coming back limits the options for Tottenham. It's really only going to be Colomwani or Castellanos, so no real thinking for me there. So no, I'm quite confident in that. And in terms of representation for both teams, I think it is fairly even with one extra Spurs player. Well, we'll say one extra. The point is Spurs have got 6, West Ham have got 4. Players in there, so it's a kind of it's a fairly even split. I think it's a fairly even split. But this is my second team then with everyone available. If everyone was available, complete hypothetical, goodness me, could Nuno Espirito Santo, but in particular Thomas Frank do with everyone available at the moment, players at Spurs gone out. I read out the differences then. So the differences are Juve coming in at left back for Jed Spence, James Maddison coming in for Mateus Fernandes, and Kulusevski coming into the side as well. So those are the changes, 3 there. Juve, Maddison, and Kulusevski with Xavi Simons switching position because Matthias Tell, by the way, is the one who made way for Kulusevski. So that left back, Juve's been great. I recognise it's not the right Juve on screen, so apologies for that. Malik Juve's a fantastic player. People forget he's not actually a left back. He was a centre mid. And he's probably more suited to left wing rather than left backs. He's done a fantastic job, and that's the thing. When you're a great player, you do your role away from football as well, right? If you're so good at your job, you're so trusted and etc., you'll be asked to do things maybe weren't originally expected of you because you've been trusted. And it's often seen as a good thing. You may be given a bigger workload, but it's credit to you that you can absorb that, and it's credit for the work you've done. That's the same as I view it with Malik Juve for West Ham. He's been given that responsibility, and that's why his defender's been questionable, but they really miss him right now with AFCON. That's why he's not in the first team. Great player. I would take him to Tottenham. Let's be absolutely crystal clear about that. Maddison and Kulusevski get straight back in there. I think mainly we missed them right now. Kulusevski was our best player for the first half of last season when he was fit, in my view, making a real difference. Hasn't always been perfect, but his versatility to play on the right on the 10 is key. And Maddison, I think, offers a lot. Again, consistency is an issue, but right now I think you get into that team. I would keep Castellanos up top. Solanke I really, really like, but we need to see consistency for him. We need him to stay fit, and we need to see more goals. I think that'll come under Thomas Frank. Richarlison I like as well. Is a little bit hot and cold. Or Castellanos, I'm basing it off the instant impact he's made for West Ham and the fact that I did want to try and make it fair with West Ham representation, but maybe I would reconsider and reevaluate if I were to do that again for you now. Those are my thoughts, and those are my teams and combined 11s, predicted lineup. What I think we go with, all that's left to do is score prediction. I think it's going to be one of those frustrating games that helps neither side. And to go with 1-1 draw, you think maybe West Ham take that a tiny bit more, but like I said, to reiterate, it has to be wins for West Ham, has to be wins for Tottenham, 14th place and 18th place respectively. West Ham are in a bigger crisis because they're in the relegation zone, but I'd say also Tottenham falling a lot further in stand. So Tottenham are like kind of under delivering a lot more compared to West Ham, but even though West Ham is struggling a lot, they find themselves in a more difficult situation. So El Sacco, I think both managers will remain probably until the end of the year, but at the same time, they lose this game. Let's say West Ham lose 3 or 4-0. That puts so much pressure on Nuno. It makes it easy for West Ham to get rid of him. And for Tottenham, let's say we lose 2 or 3-1. It's difficult. I think it's going to be a frustrating draw and go 1-1. I'd love it to be a Spurs win. I think that's what's needed. 1-1 doesn't help anybody at all. And of course, doesn't help Thomas Frank, doesn't help Tottenham more importantly. But thank you very much. Get involved in the comments below how you feel about this game and score prediction, your thoughts. But if you want to get in contact with me, reply in the YouTube comments, drop me an email, scarfharry323@gmail.com. Follow me at Harry Scarfe22 across social media. Like, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Really do appreciate you. Thank you to all the Spurs fans, West Ham fans, and neutral fans, whatever club you support, for watching. And a massive come on, you Spurs.